Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow travelers, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt that subtle whisper in the back of your mind? The voice saying that there is more to life than this hurried rush, more than the endless cycles of planning, working and striving. That soft nudge in the quiet hours of the morning, as the world still sleeps, reminding you that you have drifted, perhaps forgotten something essential. What is it, you wonder, that we've lost? What is it that's waiting for us to awaken? Well, it's time to wake up. Now, when I say wake up, I don't mean the typical morning ritual of coffee and emails, nor the mechanical preparation for another day of predictable routines. I mean waking up in a way that cuts through the fog of our endless distractions, through the illusions of our tightly held beliefs about who we are and what we are supposed to be. I mean truly waking up to life itself, to the unfolding miracle that is happening right here, right now, beneath our busy minds and well-laid plans. Think about it. From the moment we open our eyes each morning, we jump into a role. We become actors in a play, wearing masks and costumes to fit the world's script. We dutifully play the roles of parent, professional, student, leader, or follower. And yes, these roles are necessary in some ways to navigate our lives. But have you ever questioned who you really are behind that mask, that role? Have you ever wondered if the roles we play are just fragments of a larger, deeper self waiting to be remembered? We live in a time when we are constantly stimulated, when every pause is quickly filled with a screen, a conversation, a task. But in this age of information, how often do we reflect on wisdom? Information fills our heads with more knowledge than our ancestors could have dreamed of, but wisdom, the kind that grows in silence, in stillness, in simplicity, remains as elusive as ever. Our waking up begins when we begin to observe, really observe, that beneath our surface identities there is a consciousness, an awareness that transcends the roles we play and the stories we tell ourselves. Imagine, if you will, stepping back from yourself, watching your life unfold as if it were a movie, a cosmic dance where each event, every joy and sorrow, each triumph and defeat plays its part. And you, instead of being the overwhelmed character in the scene, become the witness, the observer, free from the binds of judgment or attachment. This waking up isn't about abandoning life or its responsibilities. It's about shifting our perception of them. It's realizing that we are not separate from the world around us. We are interwoven, interconnected, part of the same grand flow. There is no line dividing you from the trees, the rivers, or the stars. And when we begin to see this, truly see this, we start to live in harmony, in rhythm, with the greater order of life. Now, if you're waiting for some monumental revelation, some grand mystical experience to jolt you awake, you may be waiting forever. Waking up is subtle. It is a gentle shifting of our awareness from the noise to the silence underneath, from the storm to the calm eye at its center. It's learning to find joy not in the next big success or the next fleeting pleasure, but in each small sacred moment. It's realizing that we are already complete, already whole, and that all our striving and grasping were just games we played along the way. So, my friends, let us not wait for a crisis, for the so-called right time to awaken to our lives. For the right time is always now. Start today by asking, who am I beneath the masks I wear? What lies beyond the opinions, the labels, the self-imposed limits? Look around you, notice life as it unfolds, and see that you are not merely a passenger in this universe. You are part of it, you are life itself, experiencing itself. Wake up, and in waking discover not just a new way to live, but a new way to be. Because in this act of awakening, we find that the greatest truths are not learned, they are remembered, as though we are only just now seeing something that was always here, waiting for us to open our eyes. So friends, let us open them now. The world is calling. It's time to wake up. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that you are not merely the sum of the roles you play. Beneath each layer of your identity, something subtler is waiting to be recognized, a core self, untouched by the labels and narratives we create. Most of us rarely pause to consider this. We spend our days embedded in a cycle of identities, each tethered to the responsibilities and expectations of society. We are parents, professionals, students, leaders, caretakers. And in many ways, these roles are essential, helping us navigate life's complex terrain. Yet, when we begin to see ourselves solely through these roles, we risk losing touch with who we are at the most fundamental level. The layers pile up, and soon, the deep, authentic self is obscured. This deeper awareness, often referred to as self-awareness beyond roles, is the process of uncovering that core self. It is a movement toward understanding ourselves not by what we do, but by simply being who we are. This journey to self-awareness is a timeless and profound shift. It invites us to observe our lives from a place beyond our conditioned identities, encouraging a sense of inner freedom. So what does it mean to move beyond roles, and why is it transformative? Consider for a moment the role of a parent. It is among the most significant, meaningful roles one can take on in life. Parents dedicate their time, energy, and love to nurturing their children, often putting aside their own needs for the sake of their family. Yet, as meaningful as it is, the role of parent is still an external label, a mask, in some ways that we wear. Many people find that as children grow up and leave home, or as their responsibilities change, they feel lost, uncertain of who they are beyond their role as a parent. The same can be said of professionals, whose identities are so deeply tied to their work that once retired or out of a job, they feel adrift. This confusion or disorientation isn't a sign of personal weakness, but a symptom of how deeply embedded we become in our identities. When our worth and identity are solely defined by our roles, we inevitably feel empty when those roles shift or fall away. However, when we are connected to a self beyond the roles, we can see each identity, parent, professional, friend, or caregiver, as part of us, but not the entirety of us. We are able to witness the roles we play without being consumed by them. One powerful way to foster this awareness is through mindful observation. Mindfulness invites us to observe our thoughts and actions without judgment, as though we are standing back and watching ourselves play each role. By taking this stance, we start to see that our identities are constructs, useful, yes, but temporary and ultimately fluid. This shift is not about detaching from life or dismissing our responsibilities. It's about approaching each identity with a greater sense of freedom. We are still parents, professionals, and friends, but we're not trapped within those roles. We can engage fully with them, while knowing that they don't entirely define us. For many, meditation and self-reflection can help create this distance from the roles. In a quiet moment, we can observe ourselves as a witness, rather than as the character entangled in every plot twist of life. This practice of observation creates a space of clarity. It's like standing on the shore and watching waves come and go. The waves are our roles and identities, rising and falling with life's demands, but we, the observer, remain steady and still. Over time, this practice fosters a sense of inner stability that allows us to move through life's changes with ease and resilience. One key aspect of moving beyond roles is recognizing the ego's involvement in shaping our identities. The ego feeds off these roles, drawing a sense of significance and importance from the way others perceive us. We begin to think, I am a successful professional, I am a compassionate friend, or I am a dedicated parent, and our ego clings to these identities as proof of our worth. But when we can recognize that the ego is at play, we can learn to loosen its grip, creating space to explore who we are without relying on external validation. This loosening of the ego's control doesn't diminish the roles, but rather infuses them with a sense of freedom and authenticity. We become not just good professionals or parents because others affirm it, but because we bring our true selves to each role. When we cultivate awareness beyond roles, we also find that our relationships with others change. By releasing rigid identities, we become more open to seeing others beyond their roles. We no longer see people as simply colleagues, family members, or acquaintances, but as individuals on their own paths, each with their own depths and journeys. This shift leads to more authentic connections as we engage with others from a place of shared humanity rather than through labels and titles. This awareness beyond roles reveals that we are constantly changing, growing, and evolving. Each experience, whether joyous or painful, shapes us in ways that go beyond any single identity. The more we expand our awareness, the more we see that life is dynamic and that every role we play is an opportunity for growth and learning rather than a fixed definition of who we are. Ultimately, moving beyond roles is about embracing a more expansive understanding of the self. We are not defined by the titles we hold or the parts we play. We are the consciousness that experiences these identities, and by cultivating this awareness, we free ourselves to live more authentically, to engage with each role wholeheartedly while remaining connected to the deep, unchanging presence within. In that presence, we find a self that is vast, boundless, and far richer than any single identity could ever capture. Imagine you're sitting in a quiet room, the air is still, and for just a moment, the mind pauses. There's no rush to the next task, no anticipation of what's to come, just a sense of stillness. In this moment, you're entirely present, absorbed in the experience without the constant mental chatter that so often accompanies daily life. This is the essence of present moment awareness, an experience so profound in its simplicity, yet so often overshadowed by our drive to be anywhere but here. When we embrace the present moment, we allow ourselves to engage fully with life. immersing ourselves in a way that expands our consciousness and offers us a richer, more fulfilling experience of being. Most of us, however, live in a world where our minds are preoccupied with what has been or what will be. We dwell on the past, replaying memories or rehashing situations, wondering if things could have been different. Or our minds surge ahead, planning, hoping, and fearing what might happen next. This habit of living in the past or future takes us away from the only place where life is actually happening, the present moment. And while our capacity to reflect on the past and imagine the future is part of what makes us human, it's also what pulls us away from the fullness of now. Present moment awareness invites us to tune into life as it unfolds. To truly understand this, let's explore a simple example, something as routine as washing the dishes. Typically, our minds are elsewhere during this mundane task, maybe planning the next meal or thinking about the workday ahead. But imagine if instead we brought our full attention to the act of washing the dishes. We might notice the feel of warm water, the sound of the splashing, the texture of soap bubbles. In this focused, deliberate attention, we experience the task fully. This presence transforms an ordinary moment into something richer, more meaningful. It connects us with the experience rather than with the thoughts swirling in our minds. One of the main obstacles to embracing the present moment is the habit of constant mental commentary. Our minds are experts at creating stories around everything we experience, evaluating, analyzing, comparing, or judging. These thoughts can easily distract us, keeping us at arm's length from the actual experience. For instance, while sitting in a park, instead of noticing the colors, smells, and sounds around us, we might find ourselves lost in thought about something that happened earlier in the day. The present moment slips away as we engage with our thoughts rather than with what's in front of us. But when we can observe our thoughts without attaching to them, we create the space to immerse ourselves in what is real and immediate. Embracing present moment awareness doesn't mean we stop thinking about the past or future altogether. It's more about changing our relationship to time. Instead of becoming consumed by memories or worries, we learn to hold them lightly, allowing them to flow through our awareness without pulling us away from the present. This approach invites us to experience life in its fullness without the burden of mentally living elsewhere. With practice, we realize that while thoughts and emotions are part of our experience, they are not the whole of it. There is a deeper awareness, a quiet presence beneath our mental activity, waiting to be noticed. The practice of mindfulness can be a powerful tool in embracing the present moment. Through mindfulness, we cultivate a state of open attention to the here and now. This means observing thoughts, sensations, and feelings without judgment, just letting them be. By repeatedly bringing our focus back to the present, we start to experience a profound sense of clarity. We begin to understand that each moment is an opportunity to engage fully, without needing to change, fix, or escape it. Mindfulness reminds us that every moment, no matter how small, is a doorway to something vast within us, a quiet space of awareness where life unfolds. Our senses play a critical role in anchoring us to the present moment. Engaging our senses with deliberate attention pulls us out of the abstract world of thoughts and into the vividness of life as it is. The smell of coffee, the sound of laughter, the warmth of the sun, these sensory experiences ground us. By taking the time to observe and savor these sensory details, we invite the mind to settle, and we start to feel a heightened sense of appreciation and gratitude for the simple aspects of life. The benefits of present moment awareness go beyond simple enjoyment. It enhances our relationships as well. When we are fully present with another person, we listen more deeply, without the distractions of internal commentary or the urge to respond right away. We see the person as they are, not filtered through past judgments or expectations. This presence fosters genuine connection as we show up with openness, empathy, and attentiveness. Relationships take on a new depth when we interact from a place of presence rather than distraction, giving others the gift of our full attention. Embracing present moment awareness can also be a source of resilience. Life inevitably presents us with challenges, but by staying grounded in the present, we're better able to face them without becoming overwhelmed. Rather than reacting impulsively to difficult situations, we respond from a place of clarity. In moments of stress or hardship, we can pause, take a breath, and anchor ourselves in the present, reducing the pull of anxious thoughts about what may happen or regret over what has already passed. This ability to remain present helps us face life's unpredictability with calm and resilience. Perhaps one of the most transformative aspects of embracing present moment awareness is the experience of freedom that comes with it. When we are no longer tethered to past mistakes or future anxieties, we begin to live more freely. We see life not as a series of hurdles to overcome, but as an unfolding process, each moment offering its own unique experience. This freedom doesn't require changing our circumstances or escaping to some idealized state of happiness. It is a simple, profound joy that arises naturally when we let go of the need to be anywhere else but here. By embracing present moment awareness, we open ourselves to life in its entirety. Each moment becomes a chance to fully engage, to observe without judgment, and to experience the richness of existence as it is. This shift transforms the way we move through the world, deepening our appreciation and reminding us that life's beauty is not hidden in the past or waiting in the future. It is here, alive in each breath and each heartbeat, ready for us to experience it now. Imagine for a moment that you are standing by the ocean watching waves rise, crest and fall. Each wave, from its inception to its dissolution, is distinct, unique and full of its own energy, yet it remains inseparable from the ocean. Without the ocean's vastness, the wave would not exist. Similarly, the wave is not just a part of the ocean, it is the ocean in motion, an expression of its immense, interconnected flow. When we start to perceive ourselves in this way, as unique yet inseparably connected to the world around us, we begin to understand the concept of unity with the world. At its core, unity with the world is about realizing that we are not separate from anything. We are not isolated individuals drifting alone through life. Rather, we are interwoven with every other living thing, with the earth itself, and with the cosmos beyond. Yet much of modern life tends to obscure this reality. We are often so focused on our individual pursuits, driven by a sense of separateness, that we forget the invisible threads connecting us. Society, with its emphasis on competition and self-reliance, often encourages a mindset of division rather than connection. But unity with the world is not just a lofty spiritual idea, it is a tangible, deeply felt experience that can transform the way we live. Consider, for instance, the simple act of breathing. With each inhale, we take in the oxygen produced by plants and trees, and with each exhale, we release carbon dioxide, which those plants in turn absorb. This cycle, this breath of life, is a constant reminder that we are in a symbiotic relationship with the natural world. Every breath connects us to the trees, to the forests, to the Earth's ecosystems. It is a continuous exchange, a silent communication with the world that sustains us. This simple fact brings into focus how deeply embedded we are in the network of life, and how interdependent we are on our surroundings. To recognize unity with the world, we must expand our awareness beyond the boundaries of our own needs and desires. When we begin to see ourselves as part of a greater whole, we start to cultivate a sense of reverence for everything around us. The plants, the animals, the oceans, the rivers, the mountains, each has its role in this intricate web of life. Just as cells in our body work together to sustain us, we are, in a sense, like cells within the body of the earth. Each of us has a role, a purpose, and an impact on the larger system. Recognizing this shifts our perspective from what can I take from the world to how can I contribute to the world. This shift in perspective is both liberating and grounding, allowing us to live with a sense of responsibility and stewardship. Unity with the world also opens us to a greater empathy for others. When we see ourselves as part of the whole, we begin to see the struggles and joys of others as interconnected with our own. This empathy is not merely an emotion, it is an understanding that when others suffer, a part of us suffers as well. And when others experience joy, it reverberates within us too. By recognizing our shared humanity, we foster a deep sense of compassion. In fact, many of the world's spiritual and philosophical traditions emphasize this idea that the suffering or happiness of one individual is not isolated but affects the entire collective. In this way, unity with the world becomes a call to kindness, to generosity, and to living in a way that uplifts others as well as ourselves. One of the profound effects of experiencing unity with the world is the dissolution of the ego's grip on our identity. The ego often emphasizes the I and mine, drawing distinctions between oneself and others, creating divisions between me and the world. This creates an illusion of separation that fuels fear, competition, and insecurity. But when we experience unity with the world, the walls of the ego begin to dissolve. We start to see that what we thought of as ourself is not as fixed or separate as it seemed. Instead, it is part of a dynamic, flowing web of relationships with others, with nature, and with life itself. In this expanded sense of self, we don't lose our individuality. Rather, we discover that our individuality is a unique expression of a shared, universal consciousness. This unity with the world encourages us to live more harmoniously with nature. When we recognize our interdependence with the earth, we become more aware of how our actions impact the environment. We understand that harming the planet is, in essence, harming ourselves. This awareness leads to choices that support sustainability and respect for natural resources. We begin to live in alignment with the cycles of nature, taking only what we need and giving back where we can. This way of life is not about sacrifice or deprivation, but about fostering a balanced relationship with the earth that nurtures both us and the ecosystems we are part of. Unity with the world also fosters a sense of gratitude. When we feel connected to everything, we start to appreciate even the smallest things: the food we eat, the clean water we drink, the sunlight that warms us. We realize that each of these elements is part of the larger web of life, freely given by the world around us. This gratitude is not just a mental exercise, it is a deep, heartfelt acknowledgement of our connection to all things. Gratitude, in this sense, becomes a form of respect, a way of honoring the relationship we have with the world. As we embrace unity with the world, we also find a sense of purpose that transcends personal goals. Life becomes less about achieving individual success and more about contributing to the greater good. Whether it's through our relationships, our work, or our interactions with nature, we start to feel that each moment offers us a chance to add to the beauty and balance of the world. This purpose is not forced or fabricated, it arises naturally from our sense of interconnectedness, from the realization that our actions ripple outward, affecting everything we touch. Ultimately, unity with the world reminds us of our place within the larger story of life. We are both individual and collective, distinct yet part of something vast and profound. This unity does not diminish who we are, it enriches us, offering a sense of belonging that transcends the boundaries of culture, nationality, or personal identity. It is a return to a truth that has always been within us, waiting to be rediscovered, a truth that whispers that we are not alone, that we are woven into the fabric of existence, and that life itself is a shared journey, unfolding moment by moment, with each of us playing an essential role in the world's beautiful interconnected dance. In our search for meaning, we often think of awakening as a distant, grand event, a moment of blinding clarity that will forever change the way we see ourselves in the world. We imagine it as something monumental that requires years of dedication, intense practices, or extreme experiences. Yet, true awakening is often far simpler, closer, and gentler than we might imagine. It is not an achievement we earn, nor an ultimate prize we unlock. It is, rather, a gentle and immediate shift of awareness, a quiet unfolding that is available in each moment. Awakening, in its essence, is the recognition of what has always been here, the unchanging awareness beneath our thoughts, beliefs, and desires. This gentle and immediate awakening is not something that we create or force. It is not about becoming someone different or trying to reach an ideal state. Instead, it is about noticing what already is. Awakening is a quiet return to the present, a letting go of the stories we've told ourselves and the identities we cling to, and a recognition of the pure awareness beneath it all. It is like waking up from a dream within the dream of daily life, a shift from a state of sleepwalking to a state of fully inhabiting each moment with presence. One of the reasons awakening is often perceived as elusive is because our minds are conditioned to look for complexity and drama. We are accustomed to believing that anything of profound value must be difficult to attain, hidden behind layers of struggle and perseverance. But awakening is the simplest thing. It is the return to our natural state of being. When we sit in silence, allowing thoughts to come and go without attaching to them, we may catch glimpses of this awareness. We notice that there is a part of us watching, a quiet presence behind the thoughts. This presence or pure awareness is not caught up in the stories or judgments, it simply observes. This is the beginning of awakening, the realization that we are not the thoughts or feelings that come and go, but the still, silent awareness that watches them. Awakening doesn't require us to withdraw from life. On the contrary, it invites us to engage more fully, to see the world with fresh eyes. When we're no longer dominated by past regrets or future anxieties, we become more open to the beauty and mystery of life as it is. Each moment becomes an invitation to be fully present, to witness life as it unfolds, free from the filters of expectation or judgment. This presence allows us to experience life in a way that feels new and vibrant. We see the subtle details, hear the unspoken sounds, and feel the quiet currents that flow through each moment. Life becomes less about seeking and more about simply being. One way to invite this gentle awakening is to cultivate a sense of acceptance. Acceptance does not mean passive resignation, it means allowing each moment to be as it is, without resistance. When we stop resisting what is happening and drop our expectations of how things should be, we begin to experience life in its raw, unfiltered form. This acceptance creates space within us, a spacious awareness where thoughts and emotions can arise and pass without controlling us. In this space, we find a profound sense of peace, a release from the constant push and pull of desire and aversion. It is as if we are finally free to let go of the struggle to change or improve every moment and can simply rest in the truth of what is. In this state of gentle awakening, we discover that our true nature is like the sky, vast, clear, and open. Thoughts and emotions are like passing clouds, sometimes light and sometimes stormy, but they do not alter the sky itself. The sky remains untouched by whatever appears within it. Similarly, our awareness is not altered by the constant changes of our thoughts, feelings, or circumstances. By identifying with this awareness rather than the fleeting contents of our mind, we begin to live with greater ease and clarity. We come to understand that the ups and downs of life, the waves of joy and sorrow, do not define us. Instead, we are the awareness that experiences these states, the silent witness to the flow of life. Awakening, in its immediacy, is available to us at any moment. We do not have to wait for a special set of conditions, nor do we need to have reached a certain level of knowledge or spiritual accomplishment. It is a gift that is always available, waiting patiently for us to turn toward it. Every moment offers us a chance to reconnect with this awareness, to recognize that we are more than the labels, identities, and beliefs we carry. In each breath, in each heartbeat, awakening is present, inviting us to pause, to notice, and to rest in the simplicity of being. This immediacy of awakening is empowering, as it reminds us that we do not need to seek elsewhere for the peace and clarity we desire. It's not hidden in some distant future or outside of ourselves. It is within us, in the very act of witnessing. When we recognize this, our lives are transformed in subtle, profound ways. We begin to respond to life rather than react to it. Situations that once triggered us lose their power, and we approach life with a sense of openness and equanimity. Relationships deepen as we listen without projecting our fears or expectations onto others. We find that we are more compassionate, more patient, and more present for those around us, because we are no longer entangled in our own mental narratives. Awakening, however, is not a static state. It is a continuous process, a gentle and ongoing unfolding. Each moment offers a new opportunity to deepen our awareness, to let go of another layer of illusion, and to experience life in its fullness. Sometimes we may slip back into old patterns, but the awareness remains, always inviting us to return. This process is like the unfolding of a flower, gradual, natural, and infinitely beautiful. With each step, we let go of another layer of false identity, becoming more attuned to the quiet, boundless presence within us. Ultimately, gentle and immediate awakening is about remembering who we truly are. It is a return to our natural state, a homecoming to the awareness that has always been here, patiently waiting for us to recognize it. This recognition brings a profound sense of liberation, not from the world, but within it. We come to understand that life, in all its complexity and unpredictability, is perfect as it is. We are not separate from it, nor are we defined by the stories we tell about it. We are simply here, fully alive, fully awake, experiencing each moment as it unfolds. In this state, life becomes less about reaching a destination and more about exploring the journey, moment by moment, with an open heart and a clear mind.